Welcome, everyone, to Life Changing Wellness. Thank you for tuning in today. We are live every day, 12 noon Central Time on Twitter as well as Periscope. And be sure to follow us here on Twitter at Dr. Ward Bond TV. Today's broadcast is brought to you by a wonderful sponsor, Carlson Labs, the makers of the finest fish oils, the elite omega supplements, and other fine products. Check them out at carlsonlabs.com. And I personally have been using Carlson products almost my entire life. My father was a big believer in their elite vitamin E products, which, to tell you the truth, Carlson Labs is the premier vitamin E on the market, which is a subject we will be talking about here in the future. But now, today's show is all about the different types of diets, such as keto, paleo, vegan, flexitarian, and even more. Now, what are they? Which one is best for you? So we're going to explain each one. And what struck my interest about all of these diets is that fitness star Jillian Michaels again says the keto diet is a terrible diet. And she even got into a fight online with Al Roker and Andy Cohen a couple of months ago. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to give you the facts and nothing but the facts. So let you decide which diet or lifestyle is best for you. Now, here's the thing about the word diet. It's a dirty four-letter word. Lifestyle is something that we need to achieve, to obtain, and maintain on a daily basis. So Jillian Michaels kicked off yesterday in the media that this is what she had to say about keto, that it's just one of the many reasons why keto is such a terrible, terrible idea. She states, your cells are literally made up of those three macronutrients, and we're talking about fat, protein, and carbohydrates. She stresses that a balance between the three is imperative for a healthy, well-rounded diet. Well, that statement I completely agree with. We need to have a well-rounded diet, but there's many diets out there. Most people go on a diet to lose weight. I'm more interested in following a lifestyle that you could do every single day, not to be put into a cage, so to speak, that literally just makes you feel bad about yourself if you mess up. Oh my gosh, how many of you actually went on a diet, you kind of cheated on it, you beat yourself over the head, and then you just spent the rest of the day going on a binge? Well, we can't do that. We can't do that to ourselves. So stop looking at diets as bringing guilt and shame to yourself. All of America, most of America, we have an obesity epidemic. We have a type 2 diabetes epidemic. We have a hypothyroidism epidemic, and even men are showing signs of low testosterone. That's becoming an epidemic for any man over the age of 30 and 35. But let's kick off. Since Jillian Michaels brings up the keto diet, let's look at this one. The keto diet has been used for decades as a treatment for epilepsy. That's where the keto diet came from. So think about this. Children that have epilepsy, Johns Hopkins Hospital created the ketogenic diet because it's high fat. Now remember, high fat means high healthy fats. That means your fish oils, eating salmon, coconut oil, there's avocados. You want to go healthy fats. Anytime the body brings healthy fats in, it's going to burn up all the bad fat that you stored up. That's the good thing about going on a healthy, high-fat diet. Remember, your brain is 60 to 70% fat. So what do you need? You need healthy fats. Now, fish oil is your best source when it comes to brain health, cardiovascular disease. Flaxseed oil is great for skin and hair, shows properties that can help with heart disease, but also that flaxseed oil is great for those, for all of you ladies out there, to help balance out hormones. But here's the thing. The keto diet, again, has been used for decades as a treatment for epilepsy. It's also being explored for other uses. Of course, number one use today seems to be to go on a diet. It involves reducing your carbohydrate intake, upping the healthy fat intake. Anytime you read an article on keto, they never put the word healthy in front of fat. So that means you could go through the drive-thru and get a cheeseburger and fries, and people think they're on a ketogenic diet. Well, those are the same foods that got you to be obese in the first place. Also, it sounds contrary to common sense, but it allows the body, those healthy fats, like I said, allows the body to burn fat as fuel rather than carbohydrates. Healthy fats. avocados, coconuts, Brazil nuts, seeds, oily fish, olive oil. Olive oil is an oil you eat raw. You don't heat it above 200 degrees or you completely destroy it. You create a bad fat, a bad oil by frying in olive oil. That is a no-no, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do that. If you're gonna fry things, you can use coconut or macadamia nut oil, but in my book, just cut the frying out. You're just going to harden your arteries that much faster. So the thing about this is that the ketogenic diet follows the emphasis on fat. So the diet causes the breakdown of fat deposits for fuel and creates substances called ketones through a process called ketosis. Now, the thing about going on a ketogenic diet is this. It takes about 3 days for your body to go in ketosis. So any type of diet that you go on, the first 3 days are the hardest. But once you get past the third day, things start to becoming easier. But in the keto diet, you're going to start burning fat on the third and fourth day. So the diet has risk. This is not really made for people with type 1 diabetes because it could result in a diabetic coma and death. So if you're type 1, it's a no-no. If you're type 2, which is an age-related, diet-related condition, all type 2 diabetes can be reversed if you do the right things and give your body what it needs. Although most studies on keto are basically based on 2 years or less. But Johns Hopkins has proven that this diet can be very beneficial. There is some promising research out there in relation to diabetes management, metabolic health, weight loss, and also body composition change. Now, so if you want to go on the keto diet, there's plenty of books out there to follow that diet. But once you lose all your weight, I would highly suggest that you find a lifestyle that would bring in more carbohydrates, such as fruits and vegetables, and make it a complete balance. Some of you need to lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 pounds. Keto works. I've seen it work across the board. I mean, look, Al Roker says it works. He's proven it. Jenna Jameson proves it. It works. So you can lose your weight and then start finding the balance after you lose the weight. Also, the next diet we want to cover is paleo. Now, paleo is considered like the caveman diet, hunter and gatherer. This is a natural way of eating, one that almost abandons all intake of sugar, which I see nothing wrong with that. We don't need refined white sugar, white flour products in our diet whatsoever. Remember, if you go to the grocery store, life is found on the outside of the perimeter. Death is found on the inside. The only thing you need to shop for inside the aisles is toilet paper. Other than that, spend all of your time on the outer perimeter and spend most of your time in the produce department. The only sugar in a paleo diet comes from fruit. I'm a big believer in eating apples every day. Apples are healthy. Apples bring energy and strength. And the pectin, which is a fiber in apples, actually works as a broom in our arteries. So it's very, very healthy. 2 to 3 apples a day. And even if you eat a crappy diet and you start eating 2 to 3 apples a day, I will guarantee you that you'll actually start feeling better. At least you're getting some live food. You're getting some enzymes and antioxidants and healthy fiber in your diet, and that's what everybody needs. Okay, so in the paleo diet, you're abandoning sugar, but also no processed foods. Also, grains are considered. You want to eliminate grains from a paleo diet. Fewer number of carbohydrates in the system leads to a decreased amount of glucose, so your system now begins to use fat as its fuel source. Paleo starts to sound a lot like keto, doesn't it? Well, in a paleo diet, dairy is also eliminated, which I believe in this day and age, I believe that we should get rid of dairy. There's so many things out there. We're not, if we're a breastfed kid, you're not going out into the farm to suck on the udder of a cow. Okay. The thing is this, there's other alternatives out there you want to look into. Almond milk. Soy milk is a poison, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get on the subject of the dangers of soy later on another program. But look at almond milk. If you have a nut allergy, there's other things to use. Hemp milk, oat milk. There's so many, coconut milk. There's so many varieties out there besides using dairy. Dairy from cows just creates so much mucus in the body. Bad things grow in a damp environment. Fungus and bad bacteria. Cancer grows in a very warm, damp environment. We need to get rid of those kind of things in our diet. But when it comes to the paleo, you're looking at fish, chicken, vegetable, fruits, nuts, healthy oils, sweet potatoes, eggs, and meat. So as long as that meat is grass fed and not grain fed, okay, my gosh, that's another subject that we could go through. So that is something that if you're interested in the paleo diet, there's plenty of paleo derived protein powders on the market. You could actually read the label and kind of learn more about paleo, but go online and search. But everything that I'm talking to you about today is going to be available on my website at drwardbond.com. Also, the vegetarian diet. My gosh, this has been around hundreds of years. Now, there are various types of vegetarian diets. There's a lacto-vegetarian, there's a fruitarian vegetarian, lacto-ovo-vegetarian, a living food diet vegetarian, ovo-vegetarian, pesco-vegetarian, and semi-vegetarian. Now, here's the thing about a vegetarian diet. You could drink a can of Coke and a bag of potato chips and call yourself a vegetarian only because there's no meat there. But that's stupid. So we don't want to be stupid. Vegetarian diets are very healthy. The only thing you want to make sure of that you are supplementing your body with vitamin B12 because usually a vegetarian diet lacks B12. When it comes to going on a vegetarian diet, avoid soy products. No tofu, no soy milk. If you're going to eat soy as a protein, you need to look at the fermented sources such as miso, tempeh, nattokinase, because fermented soy has all of the bad properties removed from that food, so that way you're not going to cause hypothyroidism. You're not going to cause a disruption of hormones. You're not going to cause a brain fog and depression. All of these things can be side effects of having low thyroid. So if you've been drinking soy milk, it's an accumulative effect. You need to cut that out. Find another source of your protein. Vegetarian, the majority of vegetarians out there are lacto-ovo, so they get a little bit of dairy and egg. So, and even add honey there too. But studies over the last few years have shown that vegetarians have a lower body weight. They suffer less from diseases and typically have a longer life expectancy than people who eat meat. Now, why is that? Think about this. If you're eating a lot of fruits and a lot of vegetables, you're getting vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and you're getting the enzymes from those foods. It's the enzymes that we need every single day. Enzymes in the human body are the keys to life. If you spend every single day living and breathing and you're going through the drive-through, that every trip to the drive-through is closer to the grave. There's nothing healthy in a drive-through. I don't know what is unless you're going through there for a bottle of water. But the thing is enzymes. I've done a 21-day juice fast, flooding my body with enzymes, and I felt like $1,000,000. There is so much in fruits and vegetables that we need to stop ignoring them and eat more of them. We need to see grocery stores grow bigger because their produce departments have to become larger when we all go in there. So just spend all your time in the produce department, fruits and vegetables. Now, the next from a vegetarian diet, we also have vegan diet. Now, I've talked to vegetarians and vegans. You can go into my podcast on radiomd.com/Dr. Bond, and you can pull up the podcast from Phil Collen, the guitarist for Def Leppard. You can look up the other one from my guest guitarist Steve Vai, and there's two differences there. Phil Collen is vegan. Of course, he spent most of his life being vegetarian, and in the last 6 or 7 years, he's been vegan. He's 61 years old and fit as can be, not an ounce of fat on that man. And during our conversation, Phil told me, he said, I can do a whole 2-hour concert with the band. When I step off that stage, I can turn around and do it all over again. That's how much energy he has. You ever wonder, musicians today just seem to have just longevity that we all wish we had? Well, a lot of it has to do with the passion that they have for their career, but a lot of them are showing that a lot of them, like Phil Collen, are, straightening up their diet. Of course, Phil is also alcohol free. I mean, he doesn't want anything in his body that's going to cause disruption or accelerated aging. Steve Vai has been vegetarian for over 38 years, and He told me he began becoming a vegetarian when it wasn't really the in thing. You couldn't go out to eat. There wasn't restaurants that catered to vegetarians. You really didn't have a whole lot of choices. And at the same time, he learned about being vegetarian through a particular book on yoga, when yoga was really yoga, where today yoga seems to be becoming more limber and doing stretching exercises, which is great because we all need to be more limber. We all need to stretch our body so we don't become stiff and walk around like we have rigor mortis with our eyes wide open and barely breathing. But the thing is this: today, vegetarianism and veganism is not just the in thing. There are so many people doing it now, and they're losing their weight. They're improving their overall health. Even Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton has now come out just yesterday saying that he is healthier and happier by switching over to a vegan diet. So with a vegan diet, this is more of a way of life. It's become a philosophy more than it is a diet. Vegans do not eat anything that is animal-based. That's no egg, no dairy, even no honey. I didn't think a bee was an animal. I just thought it was an insect. But vegans do not usually adopt veganism just for health reasons. It's more for environmental, ethical, compassionate reasons of not wanting to kill animals. But there is a very big health benefit by going vegan. It's a little more stricter than being vegetarian. So vegans believe that the modern intensive farming methods are bad for our environment, unsustainable in the long term, which I completely agree. My gosh, if you ever want to know how cows are raised today, you wouldn't want to eat meat either. But plant-based foods is what we need, and going vegan, there's so many books out there. The thing about if you want to go vegan or vegetarian, you need to learn the art of food combining. Neither one is a science. It's just learning the art of food combining, making sure you do not become deficient in any type of nutrients, any type of amino acids. B12 is usually the biggest thing. So most vegans and vegetarians will supplement with B12 to make sure that they do not become anemic in that area. So if you want to look up veganism and vegetarians, see which one could actually work for you. I think these types of lifestyles are fantastic to improve overall health. I think it absolutely reduces cardiovascular risk. You're not going to gain weight. You can't get fat eating a bunch of fruits and vegetables. Okay, if you're overweight, I can pretty much, you should know where all that weight came from. And you can't always blame it on your glands. Can't blame it on your thyroid. Thyroid has something to do with it, but there's a way to work around slow thyroid to lose weight. There's always a way, and we're going to get into thyroid problems most likely this week. Next diet. This next diet is considered probably the best diet overall. It's called the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is considered Southern European. Usually focuses on nutritional habits of people in Crete, in Greece, and southern Italy, Spain, southern France, Portugal are also included. The thing is this: the emphasis is a lot on plant foods, fresh fruits, beans, legumes, nuts, grains, seeds, olive oil as a main source of dietary fats. Cheese, yogurts are considered their main dietary foods. And I don't mean going into the store and buying store-bought cheese. There are cheeses specifically made to be healthy. Now, I love cheese, but if you're eating cheese every day, you may want to cut it out. It is not overly healthy, but there are certain types of cheeses you may want to look into. Yogurts, buy real yogurt. Don't buy this store-bought sugar-laden crap that they sell every single day. I know it tastes good, but there is about as much probiotic in a cup of yogurt as there is on the tip of my finger. So just think about that. Go buy probiotic and take it every single day for that. But Mediterranean also focuses on fish, poultry, up to about 4 eggs per week. That's at least an egg a day. Small amounts of red meat, low to moderate amounts of wine. Mediterranean diet seems to follow the French paradox, where you can drink a lot of red wine. You can eat a lot of these heavier foods, but show no cardiovascular risk. Mediterranean consists of fat, saturated fats, not exceeding 8% of the calorie intake. The Mediterranean diet is probably the most extensively studied diet of all the ones that I'm discussing today. All the research on Mediterranean is extremely reliable, so you can definitely believe what you read about the Mediterranean diet. It improves a person's quality of life, lowers disease risk. So that is something to think about as well. And the next diet, this is interesting. Mediterranean diet is considered probably the healthiest diet. It's considered number one. But a new diet or lifestyle has really started to emerge, and we're hearing more and more about it, called the flexitarian diet. The flexitarian diet was actually created by a dietitian, Don Blattner, to help people reap the benefits of a vegetarian diet, eating while enjoying some animal products in moderation. So with vegetarians eliminating meat and sometimes other animal foods, vegans completely restricting all meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, and even honey. Flexitarians eat animal products, so they're not going to be considered a vegetarian or vegan. So here's some of the things that you want to know about flexitarian. There's no rules to the diet. There's not any recommended numbers based on calorie content or macronutrients. It's more of a lifestyle than a diet. I believe I've interviewed Dr. Felicia Stoller, and she's a big believer in the flexitarian diet. You can also listen to my interview there on my podcast. Just go to my website at drwardbond.com. But the flexitarian diet is based on eating mostly fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains. Focus on protein from plants instead of animals. There's a lot of vegan proteins out there now. A lot of people use the pea protein, the brown rice protein, so those are gluten-free and vegan friendly. Flexitarian, the diet's more flexible, incorporates meat and animal products from time to time. You eat less processed, most natural form type foods. Now here's the deal I look at. If you even have a diet that suggests doing some processed foods, be careful with that, because processed foods in a way will literally cause you to start cheating or falling off the wagon. I would practice by going into your pantry and literally getting a black garbage bag and throw away everything that is prepackaged carbohydrate. I'm not going to mention any names, but I walked into a store that claims to be all natural health and everybody loves it across the nation. I hate that place. And I'll tell you why. I go in there and the whole place just looks like a carbohydrate factory. Just because things are packaged up, put in a bag, says gluten-free, free this, free that, does not necessarily make it healthy. Okay, I understand that there's great snacks out there, but we really have got to reduce our risk for disease in this day and age. Now, back on the flexitarian diet, it's, again, flexitarian. It's very, very flexible. So this is something that may work for you. I know that by talking to others that do flexitarian diets, it seems to be more well-rounded. There's not a lot of guilt or shame of following this kind of diet because it's very, like I said, it's just well-rounded overall. Now, the last diet I want to kind of get into, I had the honor to interview celebrity chef Jacqueline King. And Jacqueline and her friend, actress Abby Cornish, wrote a book called Peskin, a feel-good cookbook. One of the best cookbooks out there on the market. You can go to my website, to our bookstore, and you can buy it there. The Peskin diet is starting to gain a little bit of traction. A lot of people don't talk about it. I was really glad that Jacqueline brought everybody's attention to Peskin. But what is a Peskin diet? Well, it doesn't contain red meat, poultry or dairy, but it contains a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, mushrooms. You know, we haven't even mentioned mushrooms today. Grains, legumes, nuts, sometimes egg, and also seafood probably a couple of times a week. In a Peskin diet, you want to eat fruits and vegetables at every meal. Eat food that is close to its natural state as possible. Stick to organic produce, grains, legumes, nuts, sustainable seafood. A lot of salmon is big. I'm not a big tilapia believer. They say now that tilapia is about as bad as bacon. Don't kill the messenger. I know some of you, I live in Texas. Bacon is on every plate. Okay? But we have to be careful. That is a very bad, dangerous food that does not promote good health. Also in pesking, free-range eggs whenever possible. Go buy brown eggs. Forget the white ones. I don't even know why they even bleach those things anymore. This will guarantee that everything that you are eating is nutrient dense. That's very important. Nutrient dense and nourishing. It will also help you avoid toxic pesticides in genetically modified foods. Think about genetically modified foods. When they came out with the first genetically modified food, do you even know what that is? The tomato was the first genetically modified food. The tomato was integrated with the DNA of a codfish. Why? So that way a tomato could withstand cold weather. Now, by changing the DNA of a plant with an animal DNA, that's frankenfood, people. And we have no idea. They have not grown this food long enough. We have no idea what GMO food is going to do to our body. Is it going to create new cancers that they have no cures for or at all? I mean, what else is it going to do to us? Is it going to be causing other genetic problems with our DNA? I think this whole thing is stupid. GMOs should have never been allowed on the market, but a lot of companies believe in one thing: greed and more greed, and that's all it comes down to. So also with the peskin diet, again, nutrient disc, reducing toxic pesticides and genetically modified foods. Now remember, whole foods, the way nature intended. Always we want the best food, so leave the peel on the fruits and the veggies. Eat whole grains and keep the yolks in your eggs. Again, eat fish 2 to 3 times a week. Eat seasonally. If you want to learn how to eat seasonally, you need to look up my great friend, Dr. Elson Haas, and look up his book about eating according to season. He breaks down all those foods. That's a whole nother subject there. Think about that. You know, the United States produces pesticides and herbicides that are banned to be used on our food supply here. So even though we're allowed to make them here, we export those pesticides and herbicides to foreign countries, which then takes and sprays it on their crops. Then what we do is, since we seem to be really smart, sometimes I wonder if we have 2 brain cells to rub together, they import those foods back into America. Now our food supply is covered in the very same pesticides and herbicides that are banned here, but we just imported them back into our country, creating more problems. A lot of pesticides are estrogen-based, and the problem with estrogen-based pesticides is that it starts messing around with our hormones, or what I would call xenoestrogens, foreign estrogens that enter our body. So sometimes with these pesticides, it's not just necessarily killing the bugs, it's changing their sexual orientation, so to speak, so they don't reproduce. The way I look at it is, if you don't want the freaking bug in the first place, why don't you just kill the little sucker instead of trying to change them genetically? It makes no sense to me at all. But peskin diet, eggs and gluten are optional, so figure out if they work for you. Some of you don't like eggs, you can't eat eggs. Gluten-free is always the best way to go in my book. The grains are not the same as they used to be 40 years ago. But of all the diets that I've mentioned today, they're not diets. They're lifestyle. Now, I think the only one that fits into the diet category would be keto, because keto really should be temporary. So in a way, I would agree with Jillian Michaels, but she's basically saying keto, no way. I say keto, yes, for a short term, get the weight off, and then move into one of these other diets that I mentioned, if it's going to be pescan, flexitarian, vegan, vegetarian, or Mediterranean. There's always another way. So create your eating lifestyle and take one day at a time. Many people come to me and say, Dr. Bond, how in the world do I change my eating habits. Start with one meal a day. If you eat breakfast, make breakfast as healthy as possible. If you're going to start your day off with organic oatmeal, put some cinnamon on there. Drink plenty of water. Our bodies are 70% water, so drink water every single day. Take your body weight, divide by 2. That's how many ounces of water you need on a daily basis. So once you get breakfast taken care of, then what you want to do is move over to lunch. Start working on lunch. Now you've got breakfast being a routine and a lifestyle. Now you're working on lunch. You're going to create that to be healthy and nutrient dense. Once you get lunch figured out, now you've got 2/3 of your meals already taken care of. And you know what to do with snacks. Apples make a great snack. A handful of nuts like almonds, a handful only, not a bag, a handful. That's your snack. And then work on dinner. For all of us, I think dinner time is probably the hardest and the most difficult to deal with on a daily basis. A lot of you don't eat breakfast. You kind of breeze through lunch, and then dinner seems to be the only nutrition you actually get, and then you basically just blow it right out of the water, and you're still not healthy. So start with breakfast, make it completely organic and natural and healthy, move over to lunch, and then move over to dinner. And then as time goes by, you've created a lifestyle that now just becomes routine. You know what to do. You know how to prepare your food. And like I said, Chef King's book that she wrote with actress Abby Cornish, Peskin, A Feel-Good Cookbook, is a great place to begin. If you're thinking, I don't know how to cook any food, I don't know what to do when I walk into the kitchen except hit start on the microwave. Chef King's book is absolutely fantastic because she teaches you some very vital things in that book. Basic cooking skills. And I asked her, I said, why did you put basic cooking skills in this book? And she said, because, even Abby Cornish didn't really know what to do when she walked into the kitchen. So she used it as a teaching tool. And now Abby is so into eating healthy and getting into the kitchen and creating recipes. So I love this cookbook because it can make all of us enjoy being in the kitchen with our family, bringing the kids into the kitchen and make it a family affair and make it fun. Going home in the evening and thinking, oh, great, I got to put a meal together and slap it together and put it on the table. We should not have that attitude. It is where we say, hey, I'm going to create something great tonight. It's going to taste good. It's going to be healthy. We're all going to be sitting at the table together. We're going to dump our smartphones in the other room so we're not disturbed, so we can have real conversation with one another. So think about that. If you're wondering how to start, even if you want to learn cooking, again, get the Peskin Cookbook, A Feel-Good Cookbook by Chef Jacqueline King and Abby Cornish. So I want to give them a great plug for producing one of the best cookbooks in modern day. So ladies and gentlemen, we are basically at the end of our show, but now I want to thank many of our sponsors. Prevagen, America's #1 brain health supplement. I want to thank Herbal Ultra, Bright Core Nutrition, again, Carlson Labs, I love them to death, Mushroom Wisdom, North American Urban Spice, as well as Pure Essence Labs. For all of their fine products, go to drwardbond.com to learn more about all of my sponsors. And we'll be back tomorrow at 12 noon here Central Time on Twitter and Periscope. All the replays of each daily show you'll be able to find on youtube.com/Dr. Ward Bond. And I want to leave you with this. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. Well, I'm Dr. Ward Bond, and something spectacular happens when you treat your body right. And I want to thank you again for tuning in today. Thank you for watching our program, and we'll see you next time.